Okay, we're talking quarterbacks, Yahoo Fantasy Football. Just going down the rankings there, talking about each of the quarterbacks, how Yahoo's ranked them, giving our thoughts on how we think they're going to do. We're at number 19.
19, who happens to be Chad Henne, the unlikely hero of last season for the Dolphins.
I think the Miami Dolphins are going to be good. They're really well coached. Their wide receiver situation is very interesting. They have talented players, but they never have a go-to guy when it comes to wide receiver. And I do think they are most successful when they run. I do think Henne is a great quarterback, and I do think the Dolphins will be able to rely on him to produce, but I don't see him being a big numbers guy. I think if he is your quarterback, you really needed to have drafted really good running backs and wide receivers to make up for the fact that Henne is either going to be boom or bust from week to week.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm sure that Chad Pennington, I guess, is
well, they have another quarterback too.
Right, but he's come back from injury. He's not the starter. What?
No.
Okay.
Pennington was already leaving the job anyway. So.
Fair enough. Kyle Orton, he's the proclaimed starter of for the Broncos, according to Josh McDaniels.
The Broncos are a complete mess at quarterback. I'm just going to start there. I would not draft Kyle Orton. I would not draft Brady Quinn. I would not draft Tim Tebow. Because you don't know who's going to be. You don't know who's going to be the quarterback for the Broncos. They say Kyle Orton is, and Kyle Orton is a capable quarterback, but he's losing Brandon Marshall,
which is bad.
Which is very bad because Eddie Royal is not going to be your number one wide receiver on any team.
And Chad Henne just got Brandon Marshall, so that's going to put his numbers up.
That's going to help him. Getting back to Henne, I do think he's going to be a reliable quarterback, not necessarily for stats week in and week out.
Right.
Kyle Orton, I think, is going to be a lesser version of Chad Henne. He has the potential to have some good games because the Broncos do have the potential to be good on offense, but I think they're really going to struggle, and I do see Kyle Orton possibly losing his job.
Yeah, I see it too. Vince Young, Tennessee, replacing.
You should probably speak on Vince Young.
Vince Young, oh man, I took a risk on him last year when Cutler wasn't performing. Fancy that. 26 interceptions over the season will do that to you. Took a chance on Vince Young and put him into my starting lineup, and did not regret it, because that was the week in which they beat Arizona.
Very good game.
So Vince Young, I think, is certainly a solid option. You've got to wonder. Obviously, the focus of the Titans will be Chris Johnson.
They are a run first, run second, pass third type of offense. The good thing about that,
the nice thing about Vince Young is he can run.
Exactly, that's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
He's a good mobile quarterback. He's probably the last of a dying breed of the fad that was the mobile quarterback.
A lot of mobile college quarterbacks coming out.
Yeah, but they're being molded into drop back and 5-step throw kind of guys. So I think Vince Young is a safe pick as your backup, especially if you've got somebody near the top like a Kevin Cobb, who you've taken a chance on, or even a Matt Schaub who might get hurt, or a Carson Palmer who might get hurt. Take Vince Young as your backup because if one of those guys drops, I think Young is capable of holding his own on your roster.
Yeah, I used Young most of the rest of last year after he had that great game.
He was doing
more for me.
Performance because
he was doing a lot more for me than Cutler was. Josh Johnson for Tampa Bay is up here.
Oh man.
I'm not even seeing Freeman's name on the list right now.
Josh Johnson is going to have some problems with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has no offensive weapons worth discussing. That team is probably last in their division, with Carolina always being competitive, and then the Saints and the Falcons really making Super Bowl runs. So I would stay away from Josh Johnson.
Oh, there's Freeman. He's down below Bradford.
I think it's Freeman's job to win. I think Freeman is the better quarterback. So, and I could be wrong on that, but I think Tampa is a team you want to avoid. I would not be taking one of their quarterbacks.
Matt Cassell, Kansas City.
Matt Castle?
Yeah, Cassell, whatever.
Matt Castle. I think if Matt Castle plays the whole year, this team is going to be playing from behind a lot because they have a porous defense. Just ask James Harrison of the Browns last year. They haven't really done anything to improve of note. So I think the Chiefs are still going to be bad, and I think they're going to play from behind a lot. That being said, I think Matt Castle has the potential to have some big games, but he also has the potential to have some really lousy games with a lot of picks, a lot of incomplete passes. So I would probably stay away from Matt Castle, but if you want to take a risk on a guy, he's probably the best guy to take a risk on this low in the rankings.
We got Byron Leftwich, the current starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, at least for the first month.
Being a former Leftwich fan, I really think Dennis Dixon's the better quarterback. That being said,
well, that tells me about all I need to know.
Leftwich has a short leash and a short lifespan. So if you get screwed in your draft for some reason, take Leftwich. He's going to play.
Yeah.
But why are you taking Leftwich to start? If you're taking him to back up a quarterback, there's no point in doing that. Take somebody who's going to be there for a while. He's not even going to be there for the long haul through your bye weeks.
Take Leftwich if you want to back up Tony Romo, who's got a bye week in week 4. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Leftwich might be a viable option week 4 if he's still the quarterback.
If he's still the quarterback, yeah. That's up in the air. Matt Moore,
I think Matt Moore is going to be great. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I know somebody who's going to be really happy I said that. I think Matt Moore was good. He was a viable option for the Panthers last year.
He did a great job.
They've got Steve Smith. Steve Smith is going to have a bounce-back season. I really do.
Broke his arm, but
well, I think he's going to have a bounce-back season, and I think their running game is going to need Matt Moore to step up in the ways that Jake Delhomme did not for them last year. So I think Matt Moore is going to be good.
They're not showing a lot of confidence in him, though.
No, they're not. They went out and drafted Jimmy Clausen and Tony Pike.
Yeah, so.
But I honestly believe Matt Moore is a good option, probably as a backup, but I wouldn't be worried if I did pick him as my starter.
If you have him as a backup, keep an eye on him because he might be putting up better numbers than your starter.
That could very well happen.
Trent Edwards is up here next.
Stay away from Buffalo. Stay away from Buffalo.
No Buffalo.
Don't pick anybody from Buffalo, except defensive players because they get a lot of tackles because they're on the field more than the offenses.
Well said. Now, down here below Trent Edwards, we have the name of Mark Sanchez, which really, in some mock drafts, as I recall, kind of worked out well for me.
Sanchez had some real peaks and valleys last year. He really did. There were games where he was able to throw 4 touchdowns, and there were games where he threw 5 interceptions.
Right. The fact of the matter is he's on the Jets.
Yes.
And the Jets are going to do well this year.
I think they will.
And he's got Santonio Holmes when he comes back from suspension.
He does. And I think the Jets overall are going to be better on the offensive side in a more balanced way. I think they've realized that Sanchez has to be a vital part of what they do on offense. I think Sanchez winds up beating out some of these people we've just mentioned and is probably a safe bet to be your starter.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Probably a safer bet for a starter than Castle or Johnson.
Now, that being
Trent
said,
Edwards.
I don't think Sanchez is going to be the reason why you win your fantasy championship.
No, certainly.
So definitely draft around the fact that Sanchez is going to put up somewhere between 8 and 15 points and not 20 points a week.
And one last one when we return, I think.